What if I told you that your financial advisor, your retirement calculator, and every well-meaning article you have ever read about saving for retirement has only been telling you half the story? Welcome to the conversation that the personal finance industry conveniently forgets to have. Because here is the uncomfortable truth. There is such a thing as saving too much, for too long, and it is quietly stealing years of your life, while you dutifully pat yourself on the back for being responsible. Today, we are not talking about how to save more. We are talking about something far more interesting, knowing exactly when to stop. Buckle up, because this one is going to challenge everything you thought you knew about building a secure future. So here is the million-dollar question. And yes, that is almost certainly a literal amount for some of you watching this. What is the actual point of building a financial fortress if you never open the gates? Welcome to one of the most counterintuitive money problems that nobody talks about, the curse of the oversaver. While the entire financial industry is busy screaming at you to save more, invest more, and cut your avocado toast budget, a surprisingly large number of retirees are sitting on growing piles of wealth they are too afraid to touch. We are talking about people who spent 30 or 40 years doing absolutely everything right, only to spend their retirement years doing something surprisingly wrong, refusing to actually live. And before you think this is a problem you would love to have, stick around, because the psychology behind this is sneaky, it is deeply human, and there is a very good chance it is already quietly shaping your financial decisions right now. So here is where things get genuinely interesting. There is actually a finish line to retirement saving, but it looks completely different for every single person. Unlike a race where everyone crosses the same point, your personal stopping point depends entirely on your unique financial picture. Think about it this way. Someone who plans to retire at 55 with a luxury lifestyle needs a dramatically different number than someone retiring at 67 with modest expenses. Your expected retirement age plays a massive role, and so does your health, since longer life expectancy means your savings need to stretch further. Even your other income sources factor in heavily. The point is, there is no universal magic number that applies to everyone. Understanding your own specific circumstances is the essential first step toward identifying when you have genuinely saved enough. What if I told you that most people are working years, sometimes even decades, longer than they actually need to? That's not a scare tactic. That's just math with a bad publicist. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Without knowing your specific retirement number, you're essentially driving to a destination without a map, a GPS, or even a rough idea of which direction to head. The 25 times rule we just covered isn't some dusty financial theory cooked up in a university basement. It's a battle-tested formula that gives your retirement planning a concrete, actionable finish line. And once you know that number, everything changes. Your savings rate gets sharper, your investment decisions get smarter, and that vague, anxiety-inducing concept of retirement someday transforms into a real, tangible goal with a real, tangible deadline. So whether your number turns out to be $800,000 or $3 million, knowing it puts you miles ahead of the majority of people who are simply hoping things work out. And hope, as any financial planner will tell you, is not a retirement strategy. So before you can calculate your retirement target number, you need to get honest about what you will actually spend each year in retirement. This means walking through real categories. Housing comes first. Whether you still have a mortgage, plan to downsize, or rent. Then healthcare, which tends to rise significantly as you age and is one of the most underestimated costs retirees face, Food, utilities and transportation are your everyday essentials. Travel and leisure matter too, especially in your early retirement years when you are healthy and active. Here is where most people go wrong. They either overestimate expenses out of fear, which pushes their target number unnecessarily high, or they underestimate and end up underprepared. Neither extreme serves you well. A realistic category-by-category estimate is the foundation everything else builds on. Now here is something that genuinely surprises a lot of people. Your retirement savings goal is not calculated in isolation. If you have guaranteed income sources coming in every month, those directly reduce how much your savings need to cover. Think about Social Security. If you expect to receive, say, $2,000 per month from Social Security, that is $24,000 per year, you do not need to pull from your portfolio. Apply the 25 times rule to that, and you have just eliminated $60,000 from your required savings target. The same logic applies to pensions, rental income, annuities, or any reliable recurring income stream. So before you panic about your retirement number feeling impossibly large, first calculate what guaranteed income you already have lined up. Your actual savings gap might be far more manageable than you initially assumed. So before we dive deeper into the numbers, let us talk about why you even clicked on this video in the first place. Maybe the title promised you a financial shortcut, or maybe the thumbnail had a beach chair and a calculator on it, and honestly, fair enough. Search engine optimization hooks are basically the art of saying something just irresistible enough that the internet cannot help but show it to you, and you cannot help but tap on it. Phrases like, retire early without saving more, the savings milestone nobody talks about, or how to stop worrying about money forever, are not accidents. They are carefully crafted signals designed to match exactly what real people are typing into search bars at 2 in the morning when they cannot sleep because of their retirement anxiety. And here is the delightful twist. The reason those hooks work so well is because the concept behind them, Coast Financial Independence Retire Early, is genuinely that compelling. The hook does not have to lie when the truth is already this good. So yes, you were baited, but you were baited with something that might actually change your financial life. And that, dear viewer, is what separates great content from clickbait. What if I told you that you could stop saving for retirement right now and still retire comfortably? No, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. And no, we are not about to ask you to invest in anything suspicious. Welcome to Coast Financial Independence Retire Early, the retirement strategy that lets compound interest do the heavy lifting while you finally breathe again. Most people spend their entire working lives white-knuckling their savings rate, skipping vacations, and stress-eating over their 401,000 dollars, while the answer was quietly sitting in a spreadsheet the whole time. Coast Financial Independence Retire Early flips the traditional retirement script on its head, and by the end of this video, you will either be celebrating because you are already there, or you will have a shockingly clear roadmap to get there faster than you ever thought possible. So if you have ever wondered whether your savings are actually enough, or whether you are just running on a hamster wheel with a better salary, stick around, because this one is going to change the way you think about money forever. Now, one factor that dramatically shapes all of this is your age. The younger you are when you hit your savings milestone, the more powerfully compounding works in your favor. Time becomes your greatest asset. A 30-year-old who reaches Coastfire has roughly 3 to 4 decades for the market to grow that money without any additional contributions. That is an enormous runway. But if you hit that same milestone at 55, the math looks very different. You have maybe 10 years before retirement, which means the market has far less time to do the heavy lifting. Compounding still works, but it works with much less force. So age is not just a number here. It is a multiplier that either strengthens or weakens your ability to confidently step back from aggressive saving. Now, before you start celebrating hitting your number, there is one critical caveat that every retirement plan must account for: market volatility and something called sequence of returns risk. This refers to the danger of experiencing a major market downturn right at the beginning of your retirement. Even if your math looks perfect on paper, a significant crash in those early years forces you to sell investments at low prices just to cover living expenses, and that permanently damages your portfolio's ability to recover. The compounding engine essentially breaks at the worst possible moment. This is why financial planners consistently recommend building a buffer into your target, either by slightly overshooting your savings goal or maintaining a cash reserve. Hitting exactly your number leaves zero margin for error, and retirement is not a situation where you want zero margin for error. There is another silent force that can throw off even the most carefully built retirement plan, and that is lifestyle inflation. As your income grows over the years, your spending often grows right alongside it. You upgrade your home, dine out more frequently, travel more comfortably, and gradually your monthly expenses look nothing like they did a decade ago. The problem is that many people calculate their retirement number once and never revisit it. If your lifestyle has expanded significantly since that original calculation, the target you set years ago may now be dangerously underfunded. This is why periodic recalculations are not optional, they are essential. Every few years, sit down and honestly reassess what your retirement lifestyle will actually cost based on who you are today, not who you were when you first ran the numbers. Now, here is something that does not get talked about enough: the emotional and psychological difficulty of actually stopping. For many high earners and disciplined savers, the habit of saving becomes deeply tied to their identity and sense of security. Even when the numbers clearly say you are on track, giving yourself permission to stop can feel genuinely uncomfortable, almost irresponsible. There is a voice in the back of your mind whispering that more is always better. But here is the truth: continuing to save aggressively beyond what your retirement actually requires is not discipline, it is anxiety dressed up as financial responsibility. Stopping at the right time, based on careful calculation and honest planning, is not reckless. It is actually one of the smartest financial decisions you can make. Recognizing that distinction is powerful. Now, here is something worth reframing entirely. This is not really about stopping saving. It is about redirecting that money with intention. Once your retirement is genuinely on track, those monthly contributions do not just disappear. They become available for something equally important: your life, right now. Think about what that could look like. Finally taking that trip you have postponed for years. Creating meaningful experiences with your children before they grow up. Helping aging parents or supporting a sibling through a tough season. Maybe launching a business you have always believed in, or aggressively paying off your home so you own it free and clear. The point is that financial freedom is not only about the future. When retirement is secured, redirecting those funds becomes one of the smartest and most fulfilling moves you can make. So how do you actually know when you are ready to stop or significantly reduce retirement saving? There are 4 clear signals to watch for. First, you have hit your target number based on the 25 times rule, or you have reached your Coast Financial Independence Retire Early milestone where compounding takes over from here. Second, you have reliable income streams outside of your portfolio, whether that is Social Security, a pension, or rental income, that cover a meaningful portion of your expenses. Third, your retirement expenses are well understood, not just estimated, but genuinely mapped out with real numbers. And fourth, you have a financial buffer in place to absorb unexpected costs without derailing your plan. When all four of these conditions are met, continuing to aggressively save is no longer a necessity, it becomes a choice. Here is the truth nobody says out loud. Saving for retirement was never the destination. It was always the vehicle to get you somewhere better. Freedom. Freedom to choose how you spend your time, your energy, and your days. If you have done the work, hit your milestones, and built a solid foundation, staying in permanent saving mode is not discipline. It is just fear wearing a disguise. So run your own numbers. Use the 25 times rule. Factor in your guaranteed income. Check your Coast Financial Independence Retire Early milestone, and revisit that plan every year because life changes. But also give yourself permission to live now. The whole point of building wealth is to eventually trust it. You earned that trust. Do not spend your entire life saving for a future you forget to actually show up for.